This is Your Life, and this is the 40 Crest Bloomsbury Hotel in London, where at the moment the annual banquet of the Magic Circle is in full swing. You've just been watching the Pendragons, the internationally famous illusion act, and they're going to help me to trick a man who is renowned for being the master of mystery and imagination.
Now, I'm ashamed to say we only brought 3 illusions with us, but I still have one trick up my sleeve. Watch.
I have to say, this is not an illusion. I am here in the living flesh to say, David Berglas, president of the Magic Circle tonight, this is your life. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. The night is young for you and, of course, for us. David Berglas, walk this way. Well, David, I couldn't have surprised you there without those brilliant Pendragons from Las Vegas. Well, again, thanks to you, but I know that you, Jonathan, and Charlotte have particular reason to be grateful to David.
Yes, thanks largely to David. The Magic Circle now admits women into its ranks, and he seconded Charlotte's membership.
And Jonathan and I have been honored with the membership into the exclusive Inner Magic Circle. For that, we thank David Berglas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pendragon. Thank you very much. With us here tonight, we have 2 more of your dinner guests, Ted Rogers and Ruth Maddock over there. And here is a Magic Circle member with a special delivery.
We like you, Mr. President. Not a lot, but we like you.
No more clues required. It is Paul Daniels. Father Paul, what is the special delivery?
Ah, yes, I've got that. But before that, I just want to say that when I was a boy, he was already old. And it's not true. But he had his own TV series, and he was the governor. He really was. And since that time, so much magic has come out of this man. He's respected all over the world for that. And the special delivery is, because you left the Bloomsbury Crest very quickly, and you had so many guests on your top table, they asked me to bring you the bill. So if you could just, if you could pay that, I'd be very grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Debbie is waiting. Nice to see you, Debbie, as well, of course. Also here from the banquet, of course, your wife, Ruth, and your sons, Peter and Marvin, and your daughter, Irina. And completing your magic family circle, flown in from South Africa, your sister, Gaby.
Oh, God. I don't believe it. know you wanted 2 apples.
There will be time afterwards as well, of course.
I hope so.
Now let us see what has earned you the title International Man of Mystery.
I'm sure you will be able to. Now look at that. Now that is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And I'm not joking, because I don't think many people can do that sort of thing. Fantastic. Normal pulse, of course. And of course the same thing on this side. Like to take the pulse and then indicate when you can feel it. It should be exactly the same, I hope. Different sound effect, all right? As you can see, they're now not quite in sync, are they? Huh?
No.
What happened?
Well, it stopped.
It stopped. Is that possible medically?
Well, medically speaking, no.
I should think not.
It's still going.
I'm stopping this one.
Stopped?
What would you say normally at this moment?
That is not possible.
I know that. They're normally dead, aren't they?
Yes, you shouldn't be talking.
Those 2 eyes.
Oh, my
What, could I ask you the object that, you wanted to change your mind to?
The quizzing glass.
Take it out. And an inscription to you, Christopher, underneath. Would you read out what it says there?
The mind of David Berglas influenced the mind of Christopher Lee to change to the quizzing glass.
Just a few little examples there. Well, David Berglas, this is your life. Your first appearance is on July the 30th, 1926. Your father, Alfred, helps run the family textile business. Here's your mother, Emmy. Now, Gaby, your family always seemed to be on the move in the 1930s.
Yes, my father had factories all over Europe, and we tended to be educated in different countries and learned different languages.
And the family, of course, flees Nazi Germany and arriving in England in 1938. At school, your inquiring mind leads you to an interest in psychology.
David, even as a youngster at school at Frensham Heights, you were fascinated by tricks of the mind.
Now a psychiatrist in America, we've flown in from the University of Virginia tonight, Dr. John Buckman. John, how did this interest start?
1939, Frensham Heights. The 2 of us, a number of others, were digging anti-tank ditches to stop Hitler driving into London. And we rested in the ditches and we looked at the skies. And sometimes there would be German planes going across. David's imagination was very rampant then. He wondered what it would be like to be in one of the Spitfires following the German planes.
Thank you very much, John Buckman. Well, 1942, and you study psychotherapy, but your passion is still the war in the skies. Now, Mike Einhorn, you were a Spitfire pilot.
Yes, I was. And at that time, David was very keen to become one as well. And as a matter of fact, he did lie about his age in order to try and get him. Unfortunately, got found out.
One of the few times.
Yeah.
Now, undeterred, you sign on with the United States Army in 1945.
Oh,
You're based here in... You look a real con man there, I must say. Now, you're based in Esslingen in Germany, and a former refugee who, like you, came to England, joins you in the intelligence unit.
Working out which GIs were dating which Fräuleins was even beyond your magical powers.
Lewis Goodman, better known to you as Benny. Lewis, about the Fräuleins, then.
Well, you remember one of the illegal things was fraternizing with by GIs with German girls. And part of our job was to try and identify how many GIs were fraternizing with how many German girls. But we gave that up fairly quickly, and I think we did a rather more important job in tracking down a few Nazis. And you went on to Nuremberg after that, and I think you told a story there.
Thank you, Lewis Goodman. Well, demobbed, it looks like the family textile business for you. You're looking for costumes for a Bradford textile students' rag, and you call it the late Ken Brooks Magic Shop. This changed your life, didn't it?
Well, it was pure coincidence that my name got mixed up when I returned the costumes for this rag day, and they invited me to a magical club, and I'd never been to one in my life, and they were all demonstrating something, and suddenly I was asked to do something, and luckily I knew one little card trick. Then I confessed later on to this man, Ken Brook, that I wasn't really a magician, but we became very close friends. He immediately sold me a lot of tricks, which I remember to this day, and then he became one of the most famous demonstrators and dealers of magic in the world, and unfortunately no longer with us, but it certainly was one of those coincidences that got me started.
Well, you become drawn irresistibly to the world of magic. You land a job at the Windmill Theatre in 1953, and you share a dressing room with a young comedian.
But, David, there was one trick that even you failed to perform.
Comedian turned actor Bill Maynard. Bill, what was the trick that failed?
Well, as you can imagine, in those days, of course, we were both sex symbols. And I still am. And no, the thing was that we were doing 6 shows a day, if you remember, David, with all these beautiful unclad girls, all with arthritis. And I said, we were in a dressing room with 8 gentlemen. And I said to David, do you think you could work a bit of magic to transport us into the girls' dressing room, but he could never make it. But I tell you something, it was a very hard act to follow. He really was.
Well, thank you very much. Bill Maynard.
Lovely to see you.
Well, thanks to a certain sports broadcaster, you get your next show business opportunity. Cricket commentator Brian Johnston explains.
Hello, David. Do you remember the other night at a Water Rats dinner, you came up to me and you very kindly said that I'd had something to do with the start of your amazing career. And it happened like this, because in December, it was 1953, I went to have my hair cut. I don't have to go now, but I went then. And I was in the barber's chair reading Picture Post. And I read an amazing feat you did at Battersea Park, where they'd hidden an object, a mystery object, and you arrived by car and you found exactly where the object was. And you came up, BBC 55 Portland Place. You did some amazing tricks with your hands and all that sort of stuff. But you'd also made me write something on a piece of paper, seal it up in an envelope, put it in the drawer. And you tell me what was in that envelope. We went, opened the envelope, and there it was, exactly what you said. I'm very proud to have had some part in your magical career right up to the top. And I wish you a very, very happy evening amongst all your friends. And one day, promise me, you'll show me how you did that trick.
Thank you, Brian Johnston. Well, you become a regular on radio's Forces show and soon after make your debut on British television. You cause a sensation by being the first magician to perform magic underwater. You didn't smoke them as well, I hope.
Yes.
Now, in 1954, following a cabaret act in London, you were approached by a young amateur magician wanting to talk about your act, but you're more interested in the young lady on his arm. That's right, isn't it, Ruth?
Yes, that is right.
What happened?
Oh, well, I first heard David on the radio show, and every Sunday with my father. I listened to him, and I was fascinated. Not only what he did, but his voice. He had an uncanny, intriguing voice. And then when I did finally meet him, he was talking magic with this young man, and suddenly he turned to me and he said, I'm giving a party next week, would you like to come along? And we went out for 2 years, and then finally we got married.
Well, also in 1956, you performed for the first time your incredible stunt of driving through London blindfold, which happens on the M25 all the time now, of course. Your skills of prediction are put to the test in 1957 when you send to the editors of all national newspapers a sealed envelope giving the date, time of birth, and the sex of your first child. How did he do, Peter?
I arrived right on the dot. He got the date absolutely right, and in fact said that I would be a boy. I can vouch that was true. And actually I arrived very close to the minute that he actually predicted.
Well, you
Thank you
repeat
very
the
much.
prediction with your second child a year and 2 weeks later. So, Marvin, have you followed your father in the business?
I run a side of the business called Marvin's Magic, where we demonstrate and sell easy-to-perform tricks in stores. And with Dad's help and advice, it's rather appropriate that we're encouraging the magicians of tomorrow.
Excellent. Well, during a series of world tours, David, you bobsleigh down the Cresta Run while blindfolded, and when you perform a levitation trick in Nairobi, the local witch doctors are so impressed they initiate you as Africa's only white witch doctor. Now, John Fisher, now you're a member of the inner magic circle as well as being head of variety here at Thames, and 20 years after he first did it, you invited David to repeat that levitation trick on television.
That's right. David has a wonderful knack of combining traditional magic showmanship with an uncanny understanding of psychology and human mind power. The table levitation is a perfect example, as viewers saw on The Best of Magic, and thank you.
Well, let's take a look at that famous trick as you performed it on the Best of Magic series.
A little faster, listen to the music. Let your fingers do the dancing. Keep looking at the cross inside the circle. A little faster, faster, faster. Stop that now and start spinning. Spin. Come on, you can do it. Keep looking at the cross inside the circle all the time. Don't take your eyes off. Cross inside the circle, faster. Stop and reverse. Get down again, get down quickly. Look at the cross inside the circle. Up you go again. One more time, quickly, very quickly. And reverse the other way now, faster. Faster, 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 faster. Come on, faster. Tables up. That's it. All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. If you'd like to...
I think I know how that was done. It was magic, wasn't it? Well, hosts of that Best of Magic show were Geoffrey Durham and Anthea Turner, and they are here tonight.
Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for coming. That's really nice of you. Thank you.
In the film Casino Royale, you advised on all the gambling scenes and you taught Orson Welles and Peter Sellers. And your magic touch has been used in many other major movies, including Batman, in which you coached Jack Nicholson to perform as the Joker. In Octopussy, you taught Roger Moore's James Bond the art of palming. For Walt Disney Productions, you were the special effects advisor on The Spaceman and King Arthur. Playing Merlin there is an old friend of yours.
You, David, are a real-life Merlin. A true wizard.
Yes, it is Ron Moody. Ron, you've worked together a lot, haven't you?
Yes. When he can do tricks that make you really believe in magic. I mean, a year ago, he rang me up and said, Ron, he said, are you free to speak at the Magic Circle on Friday? I said, well, I'm writing a book. He said, free, speak, Magic Circle, Friday. Free, speak, Magic Circle, speak, free, free. So there I was speaking at the Magic Circle on Friday for free. And I still don't know how I got there. What am I doing here? Who are all these people?
Thank you, Ron Moody. Now, Irina, what is it like to have a father with such astonishing energy?
Well, what makes us all so proud of him is that besides working non-stop, he always seems to find time to think of others first. In fact, nowadays he spends most of his time devoted to working to charitable organisations. We think he's a magical dad.
Well, David, indeed, you are renowned for your fundraising work with the Water Rats, and some of them, as you can see, are here tonight. There's Harold Taylor, and there's Billy McComb, and Bert Whedon, Davy Kay, and the current King Rat, Wyn Calvin.
And David, we all reckon you're a real knockout.
Yes, fellow Water Rat, Henry Cooper. David's been a rat for quite a while, hasn't he?
Oh, I tell you, he's been a great champion for the Water Rats, this man here. I mean, David now is the present preceptor of the order. He's a trustee and he's a past King Rat. And I think still when he does the old magic, he still wears the crown for me. Anyway, well done,
Thank you,
David.
Henry Cooper.
Thank you, Henry.
Well
Thank you.
Michael Bailey, as Vice President of the Magic Circle, what is your view?
Well, I think when David became president of the Magic Circle, he set himself the objective of finding a permanent headquarters for the Magic Circle. We've now found a building in London, and now we have to raise £500,000 to rebuild and refurbish and redecorate that building, and we shall have premises and headquarters we can be very, very proud of.
Thank you. Well, you've worked, David, on a lot of cruises as a lecturer and performer, and you've worked on the QE2 with a couple of illusionists who are rated among the most exciting in the world. Here talking to you from their home in Dillingen, in Germany, Hans and Helga Moretti.
About 25 years ago, I met David in his TV series called Opus 13. For myself, is David the greatest mentalist in the world. David, you remember our picture here 25 years ago? This is me. I had this time long hair. And this is Yasmin, our grandchild, Peter and Sonia's daughter. Mike, David, hello.
Hello, David.
Mike,
Hi.
David, hello. Yeah.
Thank you, Hans and Helga Moretti. Now, we've heard about your support for women to be accepted in the Magic Circle, and this is about to apply to another organisation that you are closely associated with, the Variety Club of Great Britain. Now, Marcia Ratcliffe, you're soon to be installed as the First Lady Chief Barker of the Variety Club.
Yes, Michael. David has been a wonderful friend to the Variety Club of Great Britain. David has brought true magic into the lives of hundreds of thousands of sick, disabled, and disadvantaged children. David, we love you. You're a master of your art.
Thank you, Marcia. And a leader in another field is also a great fan.
David, you always bring the house down with your magical one-man shows.
He is Lord President of the Council and leader of the House of Commons, himself a member of the Magic Circle, the Right Honourable John McGregor. Well, John, you and David have a lot in common, then.
Well, yes. My favourite branch of magic is mind reading, and it was David who first introduced me to it and enthused me about it when I was a young man in the 1950s, and I first read his writings. And even then, his genius shone through the written page. David, I wish I had your degree of mind-reading powers. It would be very useful in answering questions in the House of Commons.
Thank you, John McGregor.
Thank you, John.
Now, some years ago, when a young Israeli performer burst onto the world stage, you got involved in the controversy surrounding some of his psychic claims. You've since made your peace with each other.
And tonight, David, I'm here to pay homage to a master.
It is Uri Geller. And Uri, you are now close friends with David and his family.
Well, you know, at the beginning of my career, I thought that this guy was out to get me, to unbend me. But as years passed by, I discovered that he is a true friend, and I'm here to say how much I respect him. And finally, I think that he is the greatest man of mystery in the world.
Thank you. David Berglas, this is your life.